we've got the URL scraper in this file, we've got the recipe scraper in this file, so let's create a new file that pulls them both in and runs them. We can probably call it run.py. And then in this file, I think we should, let's get all the stuff out of the if name main block. Run.py. Okay, and then so from URL scraper import run as URL run. I think that will work. And then there we go. And then also from recipe scraper import run as recipe run. So URL run is that it needs to take in base URL and recipe types, which we already have done. Okay, good. And recipe scraper doesn't take anything. So that's pretty easy. We'll just say recipe run. And actually, instead of keeping it in here, we're going to need to put it in here. We could put it outside the function. It's not, I mean, I don't know why, I don't feel like passing it in to run for some reason. Because it's, it's more like a constant. So I just kind of, it should work just doing it this way. And then I think that should work there. We'll test it out. Yeah, delete soups and stews. So that was kind of what I mentioned. It would probably be better to flag them as bad instead of rescraping every time. So let's go ahead and take care of that. We will add a column to the URL table and flag all the bad ones. So let's just kind of cheat. Let's use dbeaver's tools. Boolean, yeah. Anyway, so we'll call it like skip, I guess. And not null, does that mean no? I think we want it nullable so that we don't have to, yeah. Okay, cool. Say okay, and maybe save. What's okay? Yeah, I think it's done. So, do you interpret this? Yes. Add skip boolean null. Persist. Okay. I think it's there. So then in here, we'll say skip equals column. And now in Recipe Scraper, we want to actually flag unscrapable URLs. So it will get them all, and then for row and row, instead of delete, we're going to update skip column to be true. I think instead of this, we'll say, let me just comment this out in case we need it again. We're going to, instead of filter, we say get. Get row to ID. So this will be to update and then to update dot skip equals true, and then that's about it. Flag unscrapable URLs. So equals true, and then over here, I think we just say and skip not it is null. Yeah. Okay, fine. So there we go. So I think that's all we need to do. So that Boolean is not imported. You have to import Boolean. Okay. And then there we go. I think that should do it. So it's not inserting anything new because we ran it and then it failed here, which I edited out. But we'll see the other part, which is yes. We got the fall and winter soups skip URL flagged to skip. Should have said in URL table. But we're going to fix that up in a second. Okay, so there we go. I guess one way to check would be to just run it again, but why don't we actually kind of do this. Select star from URL where URL is equal to. And it's flagged for skip. Okay, cool. Now if we run it again, it shouldn't, it'll go through here, we'll see all these print. It won't insert any new URLs, and then it'll come here, and it should not, this should produce 0 records. Shouldn't have seen all these come up again, unless it was flagged for skip because it runs it. Oh, I guess we do want to say and skip not. Skip is null here. Yeah, that does make sense because we're looking for the ones that are not flagged already. So I'm just going to run it one more time. Maybe we can skip URL run. Yeah, awesome. Cool, so that fixes it up. I like that a lot better than what we had before in like the last video because it's just better. So now what I want to do is, instead of print statements everywhere, let's make some logs. So in order to make a logger, I think what we should do is make one in a dedicated file and kind of import it around. So let's create a file called baselogger.py, and from this we'll import logging, and then it's logger equals logging get logger, and then we have to set level of logging.info. Okay, then formatter is going to be the format of the logs. So basically, like, do you want it to say the date and time, like all that stuff? So I think that has a default setup, or it's, what is it? It's that and that. Okay. Python has a good logging cookbook. If you just type in Python logging how to, it'll take you to the Python homepage, and it's a very detailed like how to. And then this, I want to say module. That way it will, what's happening here? That way it's gonna, there we go. That way it's gonna say, like, when we have a logger here, it'll say recipe. When we have a logger from here, it'll say whatever it is. Okay, so that's that. And then we want to do level name. A lot of this is like just pre-configured. And then the message. When I say pre-configured, I mean like all of these things like level name and message. That's all just part of the logging formatter stuff. Like, I didn't declare that anywhere. And then this also takes in a variable called date format, and we're going to change it to be, I guess we'll do, it's M, D, and then uppercase Y for a 4-digit year, and then that's a 12-hour clock, minutes, seconds, and then AM, PM. Yeah, okay. Now we want handlers. So this will handle how it comes through the console. And so we want to attach that formatter to it. And then we could say set level if we want to set it to debug so that it logs more statements than like the other one, because it's kind of like there's two loggers. One is writing to a file, one is writing to handler. And then let's make one is writing to a file and one is writing to the console. We're going to just have them do the same thing. Scraper.log. We'll have to make a logs folder or a log folder. Okay. Scraper.log, and then file handler set formatter. Okay. And then logger.add handler. Ch logger.add handler. File handler. Okay, now we have a logger that we could pass around. So let's first get it in here. Say from base logger import logger. I was inside of my virtual environment folder, which we haven't even been using. My bad. Scraping dash log. Move scraping. Okay. Move scraping slash base logger to this directory. Okay. You happy now, buddy? Uh-oh. Base logger. Yep, and then run. It's just not used yet. And then we'll say, so logger.info. So it'll log like an info line. Logger.info will say start. And then we'll say logger.info. Done. And then let's go into URL run, or URL scraper. And then let's do from base logger import logger. And then pretty much anywhere we see a print statement, let's just put in a log. So logger.info. Let's replace that one, that one, save new URL. URLs, print URL not found in post item on page. That one, that's more like a debug thing. Okay. And then down here, how do we do this? Find, okay. And then new recipe found. That should be good. Searching for two new URLs of type, recipe type. Okay. So that should be good for logging. And then recipe scraper. This one has quite a bit more. So let's just put this on our, well, let's do it this way. Okay, didn't find author. See, that's more like a debug statement. So logger debug, oh, we didn't import it. Import time, import db from base logger, import logger. Okay, everybody's good there. Where's it at? Didn't find description. That's also more of a debug statement. That's a debug statement. That's a debug statement. That's a debug statement. That's a debug statement. These are more like info. Well, that's more. Which one is it on? It's kind of hard for me to tell. Yeah, okay. So this one is an info. Info. Scraping. What just happened? Yeah, there you go. This one is a warning, I would say, because, yeah, just dealer's choice there. Print, where's the last print? Why don't I see it? Oh, it's right there. That is a info. Replace. Yep, okay. So I think that should be good. I'm trying to think really quick if it's gonna say scraping recipe name. I just wonder if it should be like starting URL run, start. Let's just say URL run begins. Recipe run begins, or I don't know, this might be too much logs. Start. Okay, cool. All right, let's go ahead and run this. And we should also get a scraper.log file. Which looks like this. I can't bring it into the window for some reason. There we go. It's exactly the same as what's coming through the console because we didn't configure the loggers any differently. But I thought it would be cool to see how the file looks. Because as you see, when we were in that run file, we call start URL, start recipe, and done. So here's start, and we know that it's coming from the run file. And then we know we're doing all the URL scraper commands. So it found searching for new URLs in vegan breakfast. So I deleted like a few out of the vegan breakfast out of the database just to get this working, or just so that it had something to scrape because it was all currently up to date. So that's there. And then searching, didn't find any, saved 10, and then scraping in recipe scraper, start recipe run, and then we had 7 savory whole food vegan breakfasts that got skipped, and it flagged it and it showed us the URL. I wonder if that was the best way to log that. Flag. Yeah, I don't like the new line per se. So for next time, it won't have the new line. Because this will like wrap the line for us. Okay, cool. So that's how that looks. And then one other thing that I think would be cool would be to actually like schedule this as a cron job. So let's see here. We can open up cron tab and edit it. We could do that through here. So I don't like Vim, so I'm saying we want nano or cron tab dot edit. And then, one thing though, because this can get, I have like so many different Pythons on this system, which I should fix. But let's be specific about which one we want to use. So it's user local opt python at 3.10 bin. It's kind of a lot to remember. Let's put it like where I can see it. Okay. So there, and then here we go. So we're going to do, so right now it's 2:12, so let's do it at 2:15. So it'll be 15 and then 1514 star star 6. 1514 star star 6. Because that's the minute, that's the hour, star star, that's the day of the week. And today is Saturday. So yeah. Sunday is 0 or 7, so Saturday must be 6. Again, month doesn't matter, day of month doesn't matter, but we do want it at 15 and 14. 15, 14, okay. And then the command is going to be user local opt python at 3.10 slash bin slash python 3. And well, let's just say run.py, but we're going to have to tell it where that is. So instead of, I have a lot of trouble when I try to run a Python file from a different location. Let's just bump this to 16. Because of things such as this specifically, it's not going to be able to find that if we're running it from like the root or whatever. So let's just cd into recipes and then run. Okay, Control O, Control X, say OK, and get rid of this. Okay, now what should happen is at 2:16, we should see some logs come through. There we go. So we didn't have to click run or anything, it just did it on its own because it's there in cron jobs waiting for us. Or waiting for 2:16 on Saturday. So that's kind of wraps it up. I think this was a pretty good review of how to scrape, how to use an ORM, how to scrape with Beautiful Soup, how to use an ORM to persist data to a existing database. And then this last bit was kind of bringing it all together to, just finalize stuff. So I think from here it would be cool to like use this data in some kind of like app. But for now, this is going to do it for the series. So if you've watched, thank you.